Hello, everyone. It's Thursday, June the 4th, and today is a great day from the standpoint that we do not have any additional deaths to announce. That's good stuff. We've still lost 78 great West Virginians, and that's 78, as I've said many times, that's 78 too many, and I just hope and pray you'll keep them in your thoughts and prayers, as I'm sure Kathy and I are doing every day. And so just think about them and their families, and let's continue to try in every way to be smart and be safe and wear a mask and do the things that we've said over and over as far as social distancing and wash our hands and keep doing everything we possibly can. The sun, there's no question, is helping us, but absolutely, every single day we end up with a positive test, and that positive test could end up you. It could spread to a loved one, or it could cause you many, many, many complications. So let's just continue to be smart, West Virginia, and keep on doing the good stuff that you're doing. Today is part of our reopening plan as we continue forward. Today is this is week 6 of our West Virginia Strong the Comeback reopening plan. A round of reopenings begin on Friday, May the 5th. You'll see them. I think we'll put them up here, and it's primarily movies and casinos, and the guidances are all available on our website. We again ask you to abide by those guidances and to protect our people and protect just everyone. So please do that. Today, I am also announcing that the information about fairs and festivals. They may resume as of July the 1st. There will be very strict guidelines that they must follow. We're trying to work it out where the fairs and festivals will be able to have their fairs and festivals, but we have got to have some level of relatively strict guidelines. Now, we may be able to reduce those as we go forward, but for what we know right now, these are the guidelines that you have to initiate and you have to plan for in making your plans as to whether or not the fairs and festivals are go or not go. But we're good with them starting on July the 1st. And the guidelines will be up tomorrow. The local officials and organizers must make sure to hold these events as safely as we possibly can. Also today, I'm increasing the amount of the public gathering from 25 to 100, and that'll be in effect as of midnight tonight. Our medical experts have advised me that this is a safe decision and we can go forward with this. And we will continue to watch our numbers just like we do every day to make sure that we keep you as safe as we possibly can while enabling you to try to go on about your life in as close to a normal way as we can. The free testing for our minorities primarily and our vulnerable West Virginians, on Friday and Saturday in McDowell, Ohio, and Harrison counties, please take advantage of that. The more information, especially the more information that we get on our minorities and everything, just helps us. We've said it over and over and over. There's a disproportional amount of minorities that end up with this disease, and there's a disproportional amount of minorities across our nation that have lost their lives. And so the only way we can help is with additional information. Please take advantage of this. And we're also announcing today that next Saturday, the 13th of June, we'll be in Grant, Hampshire, and Hardy counties. Again, it's the same thing. Take advantage of this. Please take advantage of this and get that testing. No matter how you feel. I mean, if you feel like you need a test just from the standpoint of the stress, you're having a bad cold or whatever like that, and you think, or you're an older person and you think, that it's beneficial to you, please go get the test. And the DHHR, will, along with the local health departments and the National Guard, will be conducting the testing. It's a nothing test. I keep telling everybody this is something that you can do in 10 to 15 seconds. It is painless, and you go on. All it may do is tickle your nose to where you may have to sneeze. So just try to take advantage of this if you can. Up on our website, we'll again encourage the cities and the counties to apply for the CARES Act money. In a meeting yesterday evening with all the revenue people, I directed them to very, very aggressively get at sending this money out to the cities and the counties. Now, we need your applications, and we are absolutely going to pump big time money now out to the cities and the counties because we have the guidelines and we have the ability to be able to do so. We're looking for additional legal opinions to be able to say go, and go with big dollars, but you've got to get your applications in and get them in right now because there's big dollars coming to the cities and the counties, and they're coming right away. As far as the census goes, I've said it over and over and over. Please listen to me about the census, and please be counted, and we need those team captains, whether they're on a street or in a community and everything, to help us with that. So please step up and take it on yourself to call all your neighbors and everything, and it may take a few minutes to do so, and really encourage them and push them to get counted. Now I've got just a couple of announcements. One is about minor league baseball. I'll get to that in just one second. The other one is about an incredible feat that is going on right now with the partners of the National Guard, the Department of Education, the Bureau of Senior Services, and West Virginia VOAD. Now, and the United Way. This effort is unbelievable. Today I am announcing I have an incredible and important announcement to make. Because of this pandemic, many senior centers have closed and many summer camps are being canceled. I want to make sure that all West Virginians who need help with food have access to it. Now get this. So I have directed my team to create an interactive map to help West Virginians find areas in which they can seek help. This map was created as a team effort, like I said, between the National Guard, the Department of Education, Bureau of Senior Services, West Virginia VOAD, and the United Way. It should be on your screen. But nevertheless, if you don't see a site near you, call 211, and they'll help you find state or community partners to assist you. There are nearly 600 sites across the state of West Virginia who stand ready to assist you with any help you may need. And this is a wonderful example of coordination. This is, you don't get this all the time. And really and truly, in West Virginia, we're knocking it out of the park on this, but we are absolutely have a wonderful coordination going on between these agencies, and they're doing great stuff. So later on, General Hoyer and Superintendent Clayton Birch and Jenny Ganaway, who's the Executive Director of VOAD and everything, and all those people are doing fabulous work. They'll all talk and tell you a little bit more about this incredible summer feeding program where we can keep food coming to people that are in need, and that to me is so important. I just can't fathom, that we've got people in this terrible pandemic, that are all across the state that are in need of food, and we're absolutely going to supply that need, and we're going to stay at it until we've absolutely just, gotten rid of all the concerns and everything about food. We had a great legislative session, and we did things to put more food in the schools, for kids and everything. We did things, that literally helped our seniors and everything as far as hot meals and all that stuff and everything. It just seems like, when it really boils right down to it, if we don't have that level of compassion for our people, then there's something wrong. And so I'm really tickled to death that we're doing this. So I want to talk to you about minor league baseball. A lot of people have been really concerned about minor league baseball. It was a really hot topic before the pandemic hit and just knocked our legs out from underneath us and everything. But I want to tell you that I've been in contact with the Major League Baseball, the commissioner's office, and I've been in contact with Rob Manfred and, since last November, and we've been in contact a bunch and everything. And I am very confident to say that Major League Baseball will absolutely have multiple teams playing baseball in West Virginia next season. There's still a lot to be done. There's still a lot of work to be done. There's work to be done right here in Charleston. There's work to be done in different other areas and everything. We're working it, but I remain very hopeful that all 4 of our minor league teams will continue to be a part of our West Virginia communities, and I will continue to work in every way to make this a reality. But I just wanted to update you on that. We had a conversation just, I think it was yesterday, and so the long and the short of it is, they've assured us that it surely looks like that minor league baseball will continue to happen in West Virginia. Now, if I could just go to our charts just 1 second, and then that's all I've got. But our charts, if you'll look at on the top line, recovered versus the active cases still are just barely sloping down and everything, because we got, we have new cases come on and everything, and they're staying relatively flat and everything, and that's probably really, really good. And as far as our recovered cases, you can see they just continue to widen. But look at the width of the 2 lines compared to now versus maybe, 20 days ago. If you go back to the second level on the bottom where it says May the 10th, or go back 30 days ago. Go back 30 days ago, and you'll see on May 3rd, today is June 4th, you go back to the very furthest on the left-hand side of that curve, and look how tight we were right there. And now look where we are. And as we've gone forward, you see we're widening and widening and widening on recovered versus active. In 30 days, that is exactly what we wanted that to do. Now, if you'll drop down to the next line and everything, these are the daily percent of positive cases. I told you yesterday we had like a 1.23. Well, today we are under 1%. We are 0.94%. So we are under 1% today, and that's terrific. And the other thing is, today our cumulative, on the next line down, our cumulative has dropped again back below 2. We had the big spike in the line above, with the Huttonsville prison, and now we have leveled back out. We jumped up to like 2.12, and then we just drifted down, exactly what we want to happen. We're at 1.97 cumulative now. That's great, and we just want to continue to watch these numbers, and as we continue to reopen and do the things that we think we can do. Now, as far as our total testing, still way in front of everybody. As far as, like I've reported already, the states that surround us, as far as our positives versus the number of people, the number of tests taken are outstanding. And so we just want to continue to do exactly what you've already done, West Virginia. Just keep doing it. You're absolutely killing it. You're knocking it out of the park. Just keep showing everybody just how great West Virginia is. Really proud of you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Governor. Let's first go to Major General Hoyer with the West Virginia National Guard.
Morning. As the governor mentioned, we have done some exceptional work and unprecedented partnership and coordination with our feeding initiatives across the state. This goes back to, as you've heard me talk about before, early on in the beginning of the pandemic, when we established lines of effort the governor tasked us to establish a line of effort called stabilization of population, meaning taking care of our citizens. This is one aspect of that. As the summertime comes, we had to work to increase our capacity and our efficiency. So as the governor pointed out, partnerships with VOAD, Senior Services, State Department of Education, our counties and our county school boards, community groups, great work from DHHR and the Secretary's office on SNAP benefits, and some support from the State Division of Tourism. We've developed a comprehensive approach to better serving our citizens throughout the summer and into the next school year. Changes at senior centers allow for pickup of additional meals available for not just seniors in households, but also family members who may need support as well. 5-day meal packs are being made available through senior centers. You've heard us talk before about Rock Branch and the National Guard Logistics Center now housing an additional food bank distribution center through a partnership with our food banks and VOAD. And Jordan, if you could, please bring up the map again. So this map is not only on the governor's site, but also on the VOAD site, the Department of Education site, National Guard site, as well as United Way's. It's an interactive map. You can go in and look for feeding locations and support locations for seniors, for youth, for all residents. You can look and find food pantry locations, then go over and click on the site. It will give you the address and the contact information. If you are unable to access this particular site, as the governor pointed out, you can always call 211 and the United Way folks will help you find the appropriate support and services. So I think it all comes down to that stabilization of the population, showing West Virginians we care, that they all matter, and that we are going to work together cooperatively to come through this pandemic. And also, I think it's important, as the governor pointed out, these are partnerships and processes that will last well beyond the pandemic. So I think, Jordan, next I was supposed to go to Secretary Birch, but I'm not sure he's available yet, so we may want to go to Jenny Ganaway.
Yeah, thank you, General. Next, we will go to Jenny Ganaway, the Executive Director of WV VOAD.
Good morning, everybody. This morning, rolling out this link for the feeding for the summer programs is a great mark for our state. I think it's been a really great collaboration between all the departments, especially United Way. I'd like to really thank Margaret O'Neill, West Virginia 211. There at the United Way, because without they are the key piece to making this work. So what we'll have is anybody that needs food, they could get on the link, or we're pushing people towards United Way, West Virginia 211, and to call in if they have a need for food. One of the things that I wanted to bring to you today was, we know that a lot of the food pantries and the people that's providing this food cannot do that without the personal protective equipment that they need to protect themselves and others. So with working with the Benetton Foundation, the McDonough Foundation, the Palatine Foundation, and a couple other foundations, we will be able to provide PPE for the people that is providing these services, whether it's senior services, food pantries, food banks, what have you. I know we're working with domestic violence programs. We're working with child advocacy programs to make sure that the programs we need throughout our state has the personal protective equipment. So we appreciate all the collaboration. It's been great to work with General Hoyer, the National Guard and all these state agencies, our voluntary agencies, to come together to make sure that families in West Virginia are not going to sleep at night without food or knowing where their food's coming from the next day. So we really appreciate what everybody is doing and for involving our voluntary agencies and the VOAD here in West Virginia. So thank you for all that everybody is doing.
All right, thank you, Ms. Ganaway. Next, we will go to Clayton Birch, the West Virginia Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you very much, and I feel like I need to apologize, like I'm late to a party. But first and foremost, I do apologize for being late, but I want to thank the governor and the folks on here, General Hoyer, Secretary Crouch, Clay Marsh, Dr. Slim, Chelsea Ruby. This has been such an effort. From day one, the governor has asked that we make sure the basic needs of our children are taken care of. And, you know, as a state, we made sure we were those caring adults that were going to make sure that was first and foremost. So I continue to thank everybody that's here with the governor, his staff. 1.4 million meals a week during the pandemic for the schools, personnel, our teachers. It has been quite impressive. And when the governor asked about the summer feeding program, we couldn't be more thrilled at the response that the state's given. We're going to have over 300 sites across the state that are going to be providing summer feeding program for our young people and our school systems. The schools have I don't know that we've ever had all 55 counties as part of a summer feeding program the way we do now. I just can't thank them enough. I appreciate the wisdom of Dr. Marsh and Secretary Crouch and Dr. Slim, making sure that, along with the governor, that our folks in the field continue to keep first things first, and making sure that our young people are continuing to be fed this summer is just so important. I just can't thank them enough. And as we head into the summer program too, we're going to be releasing a lot of new resources for our families. Chuck Roberts with Public Broadcasting, along with the Imagination Library. We're going to have a lot of resources for our young folks coming out along with the summer feeding program. So, Governor, on behalf of the teachers and the service personnel across the state and the families, his entire team here that's with us, just sincerely from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
All right, thank you, Clayton. Next, we will go to Dr. Clay Marsh, our coronavirus czar.
Good morning. I want to touch on a few things. So first of all, congratulations to all of the folks that have just finished presenting VOAD, certainly our school system and our National Guard to feed our children. That is so important. Adverse childhood experiences are such a powerful cause of disease as we get older, that showing love and taking care of our youth is a dramatic investment in the future of our state and the health of the people of our state. So very well done. I want to touch on our R0 level today. So we are now tracking the R0, which is really the R0 implies that there's nobody that has any immunity. And we know that there's people that have been infected and recovered, as the governor said. So we're actually looking at an R actual or an RT, which is a timed reproductive number. Anyway, that's detail probably most people don't care about. But our internal number for the state of West Virginia by our calculation is 0.86 today. And we certainly like to thank Dr. Sally Hodder and the team that she's put together that is running these R0s both at the state and the county level. So we're keeping a close eye on them, which is good. But I think that it's important to re-emphasize today, as the governor has started to help us reduce the restrictions on crowd size, that it's a really important time for us to really double down to take care of ourselves. So we have done great as a state, and we've all said that, and we're so proud of you, the people of West Virginia. We have really articulated how we can keep this R value, this reproductive number, which really tells us how fast the virus is spreading in the state. We can keep that down as we did on the first phase of our approach to the COVID-19 virus by really doing simple things. And that's paying attention to your distance. That is really trying to wear a mask when you're around other people. Remember, Japan, it's a country of 127 million versus the US, a country of 331 million, has had less than 1,000 people die from COVID-19. Wearing masks, staying socially distanced, physically distanced, 6 feet or more, good hand hygiene. The US, we've passed 108,000 deaths. So that is really important. And Japan believes in the 3 C's. So really be careful when you're in closed spaces inside close to people, that you are in constant contact with a few people, close contacts. So when you're seated sedentarily or in a stationary manner, that increases the risk that you're going to get exposure to say, a person who may have the virus and doesn't know it yet. And the other thing is crowds. And so when we're starting to gather in bigger crowds as people come back together for the summer, just remember to really pay attention to stay that 6 feet apart from each other. And when you're in those situations, again, it is you showing love and concern for your neighbors and for the vulnerable people of our state, the healthcare workers of our state, and the future continued opening of our state to get back the things that we really want to see for all of our citizens is wear a face mask. And I think that if we can do that effectively, then we will be able to continue to be the light for other people. Because yesterday in the United States, there was 20,000 new cases of COVID-19. So as people come back out together, it's really important that we follow those simple guidances that will enable us to come back out safely and protect the really precious resources, which are you and the people of West Virginia. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Marsh. Secretary Bill Crouch and Dr. Kathy Slimp from the West Virginia DHHR are also joining us today and are available for questions. Once again, we're holding today's briefing with media members joining us virtually to practice good social distancing. The first questioner we have today is Kenny Bass with WCHS.
Hi, this is Kenny Bass with Channel 8 and Fox 11 in Charleston. Governor, with the loosening of crowd restrictions, which you're going to put into effect tonight at midnight to 100, there is a scheduled demonstration here at the Capitol for this weekend where more than 2,000 people have expressed interest in attending. You have many events coming up this summer. One of them, which is always a big one, which has more than 100 people in attendance, is the Ripley 4th of July parade. So with that in mind, will you be enforcing the 100 limit on the Capitol grounds this weekend? And would you be enforcing it in Ripley on July 4th for the parade? Or are those types of events exempt from the 100 maximum size crowd because of their importance to their communities?
Well, Kenny, first and foremost, and I've said it over and over, we want people to be able to show their views, and free speech is absolutely, one of our rights that we have that is the most precious of all in this country. So we want people to come out and protest and show their views in a peaceful manner. We want people to show and have their rights, of essentials of free speech. And from the standpoint of I would only ask, no matter how big the crowd is, if they will social distance themselves, if they will just do that and everything, protect themselves with the mask and everything, I absolutely welcome their voice being heard. And so, and as far as the Ripley, the parade at Ripley and everything, we're trying to work with them, and I am very hopeful that we're going to be able to have those parades on the 4th of July, and we're going to do the same thing there. We're going to absolutely keep the people apart, and the people that are putting on the parades and everything are working with us in every way. I think, from the standpoint of potential concerts and stuff like that, they've eliminated things like that, but what they're going to do is they're going to have but they're going to station it to where, you know, the parade is safe, and yet we still celebrate, you know, our tremendous holiday of July the 4th. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited that we're going to be able to have the parades, and absolutely, I think, you know, the people that want to come out and protest, show their voice, show their free speech and everything, and make us more and more and more aware of issues that we need to try to address, I welcome it.
All right, thanks, Kenny. Next, we'll go to Charles Young with WV News.
Hi, this is Charles Young with WV News. My question's for Superintendent Birch. I asked this the other day when you weren't on the call, but could you give us an idea of what going to school in West Virginia is going to look like next year? Talk a little bit about the state's reentry plan and how that meshes with the individual counties' reentry plan. Thank you.
Sure, I'd be glad to. So we established a reentry advisory council. We have about 40 to 50 advocacy state agencies that are actually having input into this. We're working directly with DHHR. We will be working directly with Dr. Marsh. We hope by sometime next week, I don't want to put a definitive date on it. We hope, though, we'll be able to release what a framework and what scenarios look like. In consultation with Dr. Marsh and others, we've been very clear that it's way too early, and I think we've heard the governor say this in the past. It's too early in June to say exactly what August entry looks like. But what we are learning is what some of those modifications could be. We, of course, will follow the data. We, of course, will follow the recommendations of the DHHR and work hand in hand with them, as well as the governor, as we have this entire time. But what we want to be able to do is put together some tools for our 55 county superintendents to really start thinking about what preparation do they need to make that is going to make our children, our staff, our everybody as safe as possible. And there are some basic things. I know folks have reached out to me and they've seen the CDC guidelines. Are they realistic? Are we going to be able to implement them? Folks are asking me, is it going to look like a half-day schedule every other day? And I'll tell you this, what we're going to do is we're going to create an environment where our children are absolutely safe. We believe there is a great value to our children being back to school. And we're going to have to seriously consider that our children are safer at school if we do it correctly. We know that it's important for them to be fed. We know it's important for our youngest learners to be cared for and have that caring adult there on a daily basis for routines. But we also know that the last 2 or 3 months, we've learned a lot about what it looks like to do things remotely. We've learned also what it looks like to do things safely. So as the governor and his staff open up the state, we'll be prepared when August comes that, we want to be able to go back to school, but it will absolutely probably look different than it has in past years. We may be looking at smaller groups. We may be looking at not large congregate feeding areas in the cafeteria. We may be looking at ways that we keep things sanitized. But what an opportunity for our young people to have adults with them each and every day to model and embrace this new normal of social distancing and the value of masks and the value of hand washing that we continue to hear the governor and his staff discuss.
All right. Thank you, Charles. Next, we'll go to Katie Coyne with the Charleston Gazette-Mail.
Hi, Governor. This week, in a few days, we can go gamble in casinos. We can be at bars. We can be at restaurants. When are we going to get back into the press room? And if that plan hasn't been made yet, can we cite some science as to why that is more dangerous than, other places that everyone is congregating right now?
Okay. Dr. Marsh, you're going to have to answer because I missed the very question where you said, when are we going to get back to, and I couldn't hear that.
Repeat it. When are we going to get back into the press room? And if we can't anytime soon, what's the science behind it?
Well, I'll answer it. Okay. I'll answer it. Let me just say this. First of all, we've tried so hard to protect everyone, and that everyone includes me too. But just think about what we're going to even do later today. We've had to give grants out to people that would love to have been here. I would have loved to have been with them. We're giving grants out, doing it virtually. From the standpoint, like I've said right here just a second ago, there's multiple people, here that's working this broadcast right now and bringing us into a smaller room. I have given everybody the ability to ask anything you want to ask, and I have absolutely tried with all in me to not dodge questions. But and really and truly, I think we have been so transparent, it's unbelievable. I was asked point blank when we first started having these briefings. One of the reporters said, "Well, will you be here the rest of the week?" Well, I've been here every single day, and I would tell you just this: as we go forward, if we continue to produce these kind of numbers, I hope and pray that what we'll be able to do is back off of these daily briefings from the standpoint that we won't need to go in front of you every day. As we begin to back off, and in the beginning, we'll go to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. But if we need to be here 7 days, we'll be here 7 days. It isn't a matter of being here. But what I am saying to you is maybe as we go to a lighter schedule in there, maybe there'll be opportunities for me to be out in front of you and be right with you and everything from the standpoint of you asking, I can't imagine you could ask any more than you're already asking, but I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to be together a whole lot more as we go forward.
All right, thanks. Next, we'll go to Brad McElhenney with West Virginia Metro News.
Hello, Governor. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well today. Governor, I wondered if you've given more thought to what presidents you might welcome to West Virginia. Thank you.
Well, Brad, listen, I was on the line with the president. I would surely hope and pray that anybody that knows me would know that there's not a racial bone in my body. And from the standpoint of people casting stones in that regard, that's just terrible. It's ridiculous because that's just not me in any way. If people only knew my extended family, and all the African American people that I associate with and that I take care of, families that I take care of, and people, individuals, kids, and everything that I take care of and I'm in communication with every day almost. I hope to goodness that people have listened to what I've said in our broadcast, that the situation that happened in Minneapolis was terrible. And absolutely, there's no way around it. To me, it was first-degree murder. And to me, the other police officers that stood by, it was awful. I called it despicable right from the get-go. I have tried with all in me to tell our African-American communities and everything to come out and do additional testing because we know of the situation with the African-American communities and everything where we've lost more than proportionately we should have. But I can tell you from the standpoint of my comments about President Obama, my comments about President Obama had nothing to do with the man. The man, as far as I'm concerned, I've never met him, but the man probably, or I think, he's a good father, he's a God-fearing man, and from all that standpoint, he raised himself all the way to the presidency of the United States of America. You've got to commend that, and you've got to salute that. But my comments are directed one way and one way only, and that is just simply this. The policies of the Obama administration destroyed West Virginia. I know it ever so well. I walked in on day one and they handed me a set of books and our state was dead level bankrupt. Now, I know what happened on the war on coal. I know how absolutely the President Obama's administration, I know the liberal tint to all of that. absolutely crippled West Virginia, and especially southern West Virginia. And that's where my roots probably are more than anywhere. I saw people and businesses devastated beyond total belief. Now, if I can't be critical of that, or we can't be critical of that, then we're not being fair. You know, I have no problem whatsoever with the man. My comments had nothing whatsoever in any way to do with skin color. My comments have everything to do with policies. The policies of an administration that crippled this state. And I absolutely am here for one reason, and that is to help the people of West Virginia. And that's what I'm going to do, you know. Now, that's all I can say and everything, and I hope that I have been as front and forward as I can possibly be, but I can't tell you more than that.
All right, thanks, Brad. Next, we'll go to Amanda Barron with WSAZ.
Hi, everyone. Amanda Barron with WSAZ. Yesterday, you guys said that you were going to talk about maybe looking at the state as 55 pieces as opposed to one whole when it comes to occupancy guidelines and things like that. I wanted to know how that conversation went, what you can update us on that, and if changing the public gathering rule to 100 would maybe also play a part in business occupancy guidelines. Thanks.
Help. For what? Amanda, you got to forgive, you know, that sometimes this comes through loud and clear and sometimes it doesn't. But as far as looking at different areas of our state and opening them up, you know, and widening the occupancy levels or whatever it may be like that, or the capacity levels and everything, I think that's an absolute, you know, that the answer to that is we are absolutely looking at that all the time. It is absolutely something that, you know, that we may very well do. I think, you know, again, you got to simply just step back and watch the numbers. And maybe Dr. Marsh, if you could weigh in and have some input into that, you know. I mean, everybody's got to know just one thing, and this is all there is to it. We're opening West Virginia up as rapidly as all of us that are on this call can do so with a clear mind in looking at the numbers, that we're doing it as prudently and as safely as we possibly can. Now, we're doing lots of stuff. I mean, we're doing lots of stuff. We thought Memorial Day was a gigantic deal. You know, we thought opening the Hatfields and McCoy's Trail a gigantic deal. You know, absolutely, as we go forward, now we're looking at opening up the movies and our casinos, and we're looking at opening up, you know, the ability to have our fairs and our festivals. I mean, we're doing stuff every single day as quickly as we possibly can. And if I could go back just 1 second to just this, as far as these briefings and the possibility of going to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, the only reason we go to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule is just one thing, and that is this, is because we at that point in time maybe reach a point that we have opened about everything that we can open, and then all we're doing is really sitting back and watching the numbers. And that would make a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule more appropriate for you. You know, we don't want to just come in here and be in here just for us. I mean, there's nothing in here, you know, that's going to help just us. What we want to do is help and keep the citizens of this state abreast of everything that's going on. But Clay, go ahead. Maybe you've got something.
Yeah, thank you, Governor. So, Amanda, your question is spot on target, and really the goal would be, as we're sort of mirroring that the vernacular that Thomas Puyo talked about, the hammer and the dance. So as we're coming back out again, we're watching very carefully, you know, as the governor articulated, and looking at each part of the state as it's opening. And with the leadership of DHHR and certainly our National Guard, we're doing a lot of testing. And we've, as the governor said, have done a great job at that. So as we continue to test areas that have, congregate populations, nursing homes, correctional facilities, et cetera, and also areas of the state where we might see some more activity because of where they're located, then the potential exists that as we continue to open, we'll see some parts of the state, some counties that might have more activity and start to increase the number of cases, the rate of positivity that the governor's talked about, these reproductive numbers going up, and we'll look at the hospital capacities as well. And then we would make recommendations to the governor. At this point, we're watching carefully, and as the governor said, things seem to be doing well, and we're very proud of that. But we also know that this is a very fluid situation. And so really, I think the key is for people in West Virginia to know that we're not just looking at West Virginia as one thing, we're now looking at it as 55 things so that we can make sure that we're very precise, again, the hammer to a scalpel. And then if we need to make some adjustments on local levels, we'll be able to do that. And we have a lens that can see at that level now.
All right, thanks, Amanda. Next, we'll go to David Beard with the Dominion Post.
Hi, David Beard. I think my question ties into what's been said, and it's related to the protests, peaceful protests that have gone on around the state so far, and others that are on the horizon. Are you bracing for some possible outbreaks stemming from those? And if so, how are you bracing for them?
Well, David, all of our agencies are ready if we would have a situation like that. I hope and pray we don't, from the standpoint of we're not going to tolerate violence, we're not going to tolerate looting, we're not going to tolerate people coming in here from out of state and disrespecting our law officers and everything. But at the same time, we're going to be very respectful of those that choose to protest, or choose to have their views heard. And so I think that that one thing that you've got to remember, in my executive order, one of the things that the executive order made free speech essential. And so from the standpoint of essential means that it is essential, and absolutely everyone has the right to protest, and therefore, as far as these gatherings of size, I think that really just excludes the gatherings of size issue. And so if we'll just social distance, hopefully wear masks and everything, and just do the things, then we welcome. That's all there is to it. And one last thing, from the standpoint of President Obama, the person, being welcome, President Obama, the person, is welcome here, but President Obama's war on coal will never be welcome here. And that's all there is to it. It totally about killed us. And so if you look at it that way, really and truly, I can't be more clear, the President Obama's war on coal and the devastation of this state will never be welcome here.
All right, thanks, David. Next, we'll go to Mark Curtis with Nexstar Media.
Good morning, Governor. Just want to follow up on your discussions with Major League Baseball or Minor League Baseball. I know you were talking about next season, but is there any hint or anything suggesting we might still have a partial season this year? What did they talk about regarding this summer?
Well, Mark, in all fairness, like I said, I've personally been in contact with all the commissioner of Major League Baseball. His from the standpoint of Rob and I think it's Manfred and everything, but Rob is a great guy, and he's been very forthcoming, about West Virginia and all that. There's surely gigantic issues on his plate compared to, are we going to be able to have minor league baseball in West Virginia? Because there's still all kinds of issues to as far as them addressing the ability to have baseball, period. And so as they're going through all the stuff and everything, I'm sure we'll learn more and more as we go forward. And we're as excited as anyone, to maybe, just say that we're going to be able to preserve baseball, minor league baseball in West Virginia, because we could have lost it. And that would have been devastating to a lot of our communities and everything, and to our entire state. So right now, I can't tell you anything specifically about this season, because they're dealing with so much stuff that's much bigger than the minor league situation, whether across this country, especially in the state of West Virginia. So as we learn more, we'll tell you more. But at least the tea leaves look like they're lining up to where we're not going to lose minor league baseball in West Virginia.
All right, thanks, Mark. Next, we'll go to Taylor Stuck with the Herald-Dispatch.
Hi, Governor. You said we have to follow strict guidelines for fairs and things. Reopening. Have there been many more instances of people not following the guidelines that's maybe been brought to your attention or to the state's attention?
If your question is there situations where people are not following the guidelines and has that come to our attention? Absolutely. And what we do is we do the same thing. We try to run to the fire. We try to address those situations. We cannot monitor every single person in this state all the time. We absolutely try to tell everyone what the smart things are to do. West Virginians have done amazingly, amazingly well. And absolutely, we want to continue to try to keep that trend. We have told everyone over and over and over, and I would tell you just straight up, there are stormy seas somewhere in front of us. We saw one little storm break out at Huttonsville. There has to be stormy seas. I'll promise you to God above that this is a total miracle, as is what has happened in West Virginia. Way beyond Jim Justice. That the good Lord is watching right after us and has his hand right on us right now. Can you just imagine a cumulative percentage of positive of 1.97 in a state that is surrounded all the way around it by people's percentages that are double, triple, quadruple, many, many, many times that, and the same thing with the deaths over and over. Can you imagine that we have lost 108,000 people in the United States, and we've lost 78 in West Virginia? Can you imagine, really and truly, just how close we are to 2/3 of the population of this whole country? Can you imagine that these numbers can be what they are? And we are the most vulnerable of all states, the oldest, the most chronic illnesses. Can you imagine this? It is truly a miracle from God. Now, to keep this going, we have got to be really, really smart. We do have situations to where we've got people that aren't doing the right things. They're not wearing the mask, or they're not social distancing, or whatever it may be. All we can do is have our officials in every way go to them, try to intervene, tell them what they ought to be doing, tell them what they ought to be doing. Over and over and over, we do that. Our numbers keep trending better and better and better. All we know is just this. We're the oldest, and we're the sickest, and we're located right in the middle of the hottest bed that there could be. The odds are we're going to have some stormy seas if we don't just do the greatest that we could possibly do in our reopening to protect ourselves. All you've got to remember is one thing: protect yourself. Protect yourself. If you protect yourself and wear a mask and do the things you're supposed to do, if you protect yourself, you're going to protect somebody else. We have a potential in West Virginia to do something that is unprecedented beyond total belief. But we got to continue to be really smart. Sure, we have situations to where people are not doing the right thing. And all we can do is run to them and tell them, you got to do this, you got to do this. That's what we're doing.
All right, thanks, Taylor. We have time for one more. We'll go to Brittany Patterson with West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
Hi, Governor. Brittany Patterson with West Virginia Public Broadcasting. So our reporter in the Eastern Panhandle has flagged that cases in Berkeley County have gone up by 18 in just the past 2 days. And we're seeing consistently high numbers of positive cases in Berkeley County. Is the Eastern Panhandle, is Berkeley County a place of concern for the administration? And is there any talk about pausing reopening plans or sort of reassessing how to approach the Eastern Panhandle? Thanks.
Well, Brittany, listen, thank you so much. You know, the Eastern Panhandle, Berkeley, Jefferson, and Morgan counties are counties that we're watching nonstop. You know, they are probably the most exposed counties from the standpoint of all the stuff from DC to Virginia, you know, in that area. And without any question, those are the counties that can absolutely jump up and bite us right off the get-go. But you got to watch them all, because you really don't know what's going to happen and what's going to jump up. I mean, you know, so all that being said, you know, I'll pass to, you know, Secretary Crouch or someone, you know, maybe that could add something to that answer. But without any question, we're watching really, really closely Berkeley and Jefferson and Morgan counties.
Yeah, Governor, I'm happy to add just a little bit to that. We're talking about those counties every day. The governor said it very well. Those counties, because of the location and the nearness to other states and the ingress and egress of folks up there, are a huge concern. One of the things we're doing right now is more testing. So we may see more cases. We probably will see more cases. But we're also working with local health department up there, health departments, and making sure we track those. We do contact tracing, and we make sure that all of those leads are followed. So we appreciate your question, and that the Panhandle is a huge concern. Thank you.
In terms of summarizing the data there, we are seeing, as you note, higher levels of disease and have consistently seen that over time in that area, especially in the Berkeley and Jefferson County. What's interesting is that while it's higher than elsewhere in the state, we are seeing that things like the percent positivity is staying fairly consistent. So it's not changing in time. So what we're looking in these settings is both the level of disease and trends or changes in disease. So there's an area that we're seeing lots of higher level of disease, but it's been staying kind of steady along that path as we look at percent positivity trends, as we look at things like the R value that WVU is calculating. So those are the kinds of things that we're looking at and following with that.
All right. Thank you, Governor. I'll turn it back to you.
Well, I don't have too much today, except I remind everybody over and over and over that, you know, we have lost 78 great West Virginians. They're not a statistic. They have a name. They absolutely have loved ones and friends and everything. And please, please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. The sun's shining and a lot of good stuff is going on in West Virginia right now. But for those people, it's probably tough times, and so please remember them. And I keep cautioning everybody on just this. There will be some bumpy roads. There's going to be some turbulent seas. It's just not going to be perfect. I mean, that's just all there is to it. And so please try to wear your mask. Listen to Dr. Marsh and listen to Dr. Schlemp and all the people that are telling you over and over and over what to do. You know, I welcome and commend you in every way for what you've already done. You know, and I on top of all that, I can't say enough about just how great West Virginians are. I mean, you know, when it really boils right down to it, you know, we've had some, you know, protests. We've had people, you know, that are exercising their free speech. They've done it in an absolutely outstanding way. You know, it's just over and over and over, West Virginia, you just continue to show the world just how great you are. And at the end of the day, And at the end of the day, we'll have change, we'll have improvement on things in life that we want to have improvement on and everything. We absolutely will show the world just how great you really are here in West Virginia. And maybe, just maybe, the world will come to us. And as the world comes to us, there'll be more and more and more opportunities for us. So again, thank you for all you're doing. Keep it up, West Virginia.